So what's on the what do you listen to? No audio.
Now I can speak.
There.
There
So what do you listen to? I mean, do you listen to music when you code? What do you do?
you go.
I can hear you.
Can you hear that?
Mm. No, I
That
can't.
is
It's
so
gone.
awesome. I am listening to Cowgirl Remastered Underworld. It's basically have a playlist that in Spotify that is a whole bunch of random different music that I just like, some from movies, some from just like life. And there's a this AI DJ in Spotify that you can just hit it and he'll play you random music throughout the day from your list or things that are close to it or whatever. So, I mean, there's
All
80s,
right.
90s, 2000s, there's 70s, 60s, 50s. Dude,
That's awesome.
it's a
I
wide way.
Did you ever come across Happy Hardcore? It's a web stream from the UK.
Mm-mm, I don't
It's
think so.
just all it's there's no word, almost never any words. And that's,
Mm.
man, if I'm trying to focus and just in the background, that makes me so happy.
Nice, nice. Yeah.
Right.
But that's one thing I like about working remotely is that you can just like listen to whatever you want to
Right.
and
Um,
let all these note takers in. Like literally more note takers than people. It's freaking hilarious. The note takers are taking over.
braver man than I am gonna get in.
That's okay. I don't mind letting the note takers in. And they keep things interesting.
It's not like we're ever saying anything here that we're not going to say out loud.
It's true.
You
I
know,
type I
once we
type
start
anything that
recording.
I'm not supposed to say out loud.
Oh,
What up, gentlemen and gentlemen?
ladies and gentlemen,
Good
yeah.
morning.
Morning.
Oh. It- here's the goal. One day in my life, I want to go through the entire day when everybody's audio works the first time they join. It's not like
Never gonna happen.
you got to have a dream. You got to have a dream. This is going to happen someday.
It's a good dream.
Absolutely.
Hello, all. Morning.
Hello, everyone.
Morning.
And now it's not a boys' club anymore. It's over Indeed.
Oh, I haven't let her in. Oh, you let her in.
Of course, I'm going to let Tita in. I think she'd come beat me up if I didn't.
That's true. She would. And she would win too.
She would. She would. They grow 'em tough that far north. You guys have no idea how self-sufficient a person has to be to live in that part of the world. It just comes organically, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys talking about me?
I'm
No,
talking
no,
about
never.
how self-sufficient one has to be when living in the North Country. It's a different way of life. I uh,
Uh,
I met a guy when I first left Alaska. He had never had to change a tire. He had no idea how to do that. I'm like, yeah, see the look on her face. Yeah, it's like, dude, you end up dead. That happens. That's simple statement of fact.
yeah, that was
So it's
my
called
yeah
AAA.
my wife's son gets on those kicks for over the years with those those living up north or there's some shows that are great lo love those
Uh,
but
it's
yeah,
sometimes
hard.
just simple life skills. It doesn't have to
There's
be horribly complicated.
I love the show and it's not on there anymore, but it's like Alaska State Troopers. That was like one of my favorite go-to shows for a long time.
uh yeah, Life Below Zero, that's what I was trying to
Yeah.
remember. That
Okay.
was like, yeah, there's some good ones there. Yeah.
The
Yeah,
production
I would
values on Life
totally
Below
get
Zero
along.
were kind of weird, man. It was almost like it wanted to be a horror show. It was like that
I just want to
impending
go to
doom.
Alaska and be just like a bush pilot or whatever, because that looks like so much fun, and I could totally do that.
Oh yeah, no, you're not supposed to fly under the bridge. Oh, challenge accepted, and you get five guys right in a row. Yeah,
Some of those, I mean, and they'll land like some of those planes on just like the smallest of like little areas, like on a creek bed, and kind of and like just like,
yeah. They basically just come and stall right
oh
on
yeah,
a
oh for
little
sure. There's
gravel
a
bar.
competitions that you have to basically like the shortest landing distance. We're talking like within feet. It's impressive.
It's crazy. Do we have any other pilots here? Does anybody here fly? Yeah.
Mm.
No, but where I'm in North Texas, there is airplanes and lots of a couple little small airports around here, so see all sorts of yeah, lots of pilots. Yeah,
Very
That's
sort of
cool.
fun.
Very
There's
cool.
activity.
a joke. It's like, how do you tell a pilot in a crowded room? It's like he's the guy telling everybody he's a pilot. And that is the truth if you've ever hung out with any of them.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny. The first trip I ever took to Europe, we're flying along, and I'm looking down at the landscape. You know, I'm in a commercial jet, and I couldn't figure out what was missing. I'm seeing the roads, I'm seeing the fields, I'm seeing villages, I'm seeing cities, I'm seeing towns, and I realized that they grew up without airports. The United
Mm.
States, we had airports about 10 minutes after we were founded. So no matter where you go across the Midwest or the West,
Yep.
you see little municipal airports all over the place, big airports, small airports. I just don't didn't grow up with that over there.
Yep.
All
That's why I
right.
feel comfortable when I'm flying around. Is like you very rarely have to find a field anywhere. You just look for the nearest airport, which is usually not too far away from you. So
Steven, is that the boss?
Yeah, this is number five. She wants some for some Paw Patrol pages.
Who doesn't want Paw Patrol?
Sorry.
No, 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 no. This is the insight that we get in these sorts of things. Um,
It's an
Good
adventure.
morning, everyone. Yeah, it's never dull around here. Thanks again, as always, for joining when you can. Um, Anything going on in your worlds? Anything that we want to look at, talk about? Anything that's on fire? Any guidance that Ben can give you? Because I'm not going to get very good at that.
Good, good, good.
Yes. Uh,
Steven, what's up?
hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
So, we've had a user over the past week, continuously get breached. Um, we've enabled the rule goes off, it blocks his account, but we reset it every time just for his account to get breached again. And
Hmm.
And you've reset the password, done a token flush, and checked for any persistence of any third-party apps.
yes.
Yeah. All right, Ben, I'm out of ideas.
Well, Stephen, if you want to share it with the group, I can basically pause the recording so nothing
Mhm.
will go out on the net. But it is up to you. Or if you want, you can always set up a one-on-one later on, and you can walk me through it, whichever way you feel more comfortable doing.
I can share it with the group.
All right.
This we can go ahead and start record. Yeah, it's recording now. So if you miss
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, for anybody that just joined us, or it looks like we've been offline for about a half an hour because we've been actually diving in. We stopped the recording so that we could help out Stephen on a persistent little problem he was having. And I
Mhm.
don't think we may have 100% solved it, but we found a couple of spots that might cause this to be happening or allow this to be
I
happening.
think Tina needs a title of threat hunter. I think she's missing her calling.
Mhm.
Does Tina
Let's
solve it? She walks in with an axe and she just starts crying, beating on the hardware, you know?
I just want to get in there. I'm like, I got this.
nice.
Give me the
Uh,
mouse.
it's awesome. So something like this is something that we use pretty frequently. It helps us eliminate the devices that have just traveled outside of the approved location but are legit. So like this is if you're using Unify, and even if you're not, it's okay because it uses one of these two conditions and then follows it up with, or is it does not exist? Or is it and? Should it be an and or an or? What do you think? I think probably an and.
I'm thinking and yeah.
Yeah, let's do an
But
and.
and help the slow guy on the call here understand organizations without devices. If I am leveraging Unify, that's going to and there's even one organization or the organization has at least one device, then it would not meet that criteria.
Mm-hmm. And this mostly it's for a lot of people that don't use Unify should show up with that message, I believe, is what we kind of determined.
Okay.
Hmm. But if they do, or if they're traveling outside, these are the two things that just kind of quiet down this alert a little bit, and hopefully help catch the people that are traveling legitimately. But this has been pretty helpful for us. It's actually before we had as MSA we had like something like this, right? And you can do mobile if you want to as well. But the thing I like about mobile is like if you've registered your device with Entra, even your mobile one, it should show up and relay this device ID. So it allows us to sometimes leave this off. But like we had is something similar to like this right here, which this triggered pretty frequently because not every device, especially like home devices or someone traveling with their phone, does not show up as a known device because there's not an RMM agent on it. But if they've installed like Office or something like that, this has helped adding the Entra to it. Like it cut down our alert volumes literally in half. So we went from probably like 400 different like tickets and event alerts on this to like closer to 200. It's been pretty effective. But so yeah, that's something like that would probably help out Steven too.
If Steven's back from moving the car.
And if not, he's probably watching this. But did anybody else have anything they wanted to talk about? If not, I do have one or two things.
Good morning.
So,
Hey, Peter.
what's up, Peter?
How are you, sir? No,
It's
I
a
jumped in
beautiful
a little
day.
late.
What's up, man?
Can't complain. I'm trying to. I was just at Boston Connect Local yesterday, last week, where Ryan was the Judas goat, as he likes to call himself on stage, talking, presenting. I asked him to elaborate a little bit about the where Microsoft is going to force people into P2, even if they're only using it for a few accounts, but not everybody, and they'll balance bill you for it from the beginning. I'm looking to find some hard info on that to put in front of prospects and clients to get them to switch over to SaaS alerts and another form of MFA rather than Microsoft P2, and just basically give them the security functionality of SaaS without spending the money. So what I'm looking for is something from Microsoft that I have not been able to find, because one of my clients that's about 500 seats and another one that's about 900 seats is asking me. They one of them asked the Dell representative, and they said they haven't heard anything about that. But I'm looking for something where it says, here, let me point to this. Microsoft is going to balance bill you for everybody if you've only been using P2 for conditional access for a handful of your accounts.
I haven't seen anything in writing like that. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything in writing, but like I know that I think that's the rumor is that people on Reddit have started saying that their clients are getting like letters from Microsoft saying, "Hey, we noticed you're using this single P1 license, but you're using conditional access policy for all your users." And they're asking them to settle up and make the licensing right. But I haven't heard anything about back billing them. Oh, Daniel said he has some stuff. Okay, cool. Daniel, would you mind sharing that if you have something here, please post it or email it to me too. I'd love to see articles about it.
Yeah, we'll dump it out of Discord if it's appropriate.
Yeah, I got you guys. Sorry, I was eating breakfast.
It's
I'll get it over
11.
to you guys later today. I mean, dude, I start at 8. I haven't had a chance to eat.
I do too, and I have breakfast.
It's Kaseya making you make 50 calls before 9:30 from 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning, isn't it?
Nah, they don't track my dials. They know better than that. But no, yeah, I have some stuff that I had to dig up for some, so I'll get it over to you guys.
Yeah, please, I appreciate that.
Yeah. I'll and Daniel, once you send it over to me, I'll post it on Discord too.
Speaking of Discord, I've tried in the past to get on. So can you email me just the most current link so I can try to join? Because I've not been successful in the past.
Yeah, I can put something in the chat too, and Daniel, if you want to pass that along in the email, that's fine.
Great.
Yeah, definitely. Happy to have you.
Greg, what's on your mind?
Hi, Anthony. How you doing? Long time no speak.
Beauty, dude. How are you, man?
I'm well. I'm well. And hi,
Excellent.
everybody else. This is my first open office hours with SaaS Alerts. Anthony, thanks for all your onboarding help back end of last year, but I'm kind of stuck with some of the rules at the moment. So one of the rules that I've put in place is to generate alerts when people use or log into their 365 accounts outside of the UK. So very closely aligned with the sort of setup you're just doing. Now that was generating a lot of noise. It was on a notify only basis. And we're obviously going into that part of the year now where people are starting to go on holiday, they're traveling, they're taking their phones and their laptops with them. And the number of alerts is just too great. And is kind of counterproductive because there's just so much noise that we're ignoring them. So I need to find a better way of managing the alerts. And what I ultimately want to do as well is not have that alert if it's coming from a trusted device, i.e. a device that they've used before. So if they're traveling, they're using their phone or their laptop, it's a device that they've already enrolled, they've already used it. I don't need those alerts because in all likelihood it's the actual user, they've just moved with their device. But if they're trying to log in from a device that we've not seen before, that's when I want the alert. How do I go about creating a rule to do that? Or is there a template I can follow or some KB that you can point me in the direction of?
Greg, remind me, are you leveraging an RMM tool?
Yes.
Which one?
ConnectWise.
Wise. And it's going to show you.
Unfortunately for us, ConnectWise RMM is not currently working with SaaS alerts.
the,
And it is
Yeah.
I don't want
RMM
to
as
make any.
well. It's not automate.
Oh, okay. I don't want to make any promises, but I know that that
Okay.
has actually generated a lot of noise here internally. So I think we may see some movement on that by next quarter.
Yeah. But that won't stop you from using the devices that have been joined or registered with Entra. You can still get away with using that rule that I just put together. Um, Happy to show that to you. Do you think when you're seeing these events and they're coming up on your system, do you see? Let's see. Let me see if I'll find one real quick.
But the first problem is, and this isn't anything to do with the rule, is I seem to get 3 alerts for the same event.
Or is it a respond rule or is it
As a
something else?
respond rule, yeah.
Yeah. Um, are you using what PSA are you using?
ConnectWise.
Okay. If you're setting up an email alert, it will generate like like usually at least 3 emails. It'd be like this is triggered, this was
Yep.
remediated, this was successful. But if you're using the PSA connection, it should just be creating the master ticket and then notes underneath of those.
Right. Well, I'll definitely set that up. And what's best practice with that? Would you normally set up a new service board for SaaS alerts?
Yeah, usually a lot of people do, but it's really up to you. It's kind of personal preference. You can
Yeah,
ask.
Okay.
we have ours point and it dumps to just our alerts board for all of our security stuff. But yeah, it behaves just like that. We've got the when you go into the settings, PSA and email, you set up the PSA connection, and
Yep.
it does just if they're all for the same event, basically. So like a respond rule, it'll have the rule trigger, auto, approve the remediation, and then the remediation steps is usually the 3 parts, and it'll just tuck them all in as just notes on one ticket.
Well, that will help massively.
Definitely. The
The other
email
thing
alerts
I've
are really
noticed,
annoying.
so the respond rule at the moment, I think, has got a time window of 8 hours on it. So I think what is also happening is if somebody's away for a week, it means every 8 hours during that week, so 3 times a day, effectively, the rule is then triggered. So again, what's the best practice with the time with the duration on the rules?
Well, just to show you this, you can also set up the custom mapping for each respond rule that you may have in your system if you did want it to go to a different type or subtype and have workflow rules based around that. So
Yep.
something to keep in mind. So with the time, when you're talking about a single occurrence, Respond runs every, I think it's like 5 minutes, and it does not wait for uh, the entire 8 hours to go by to say, hey, this happened, I'm going to run. It waits for that very first occurrence. So
Yep.
if it's just one occurrence, then the time actually doesn't even matter. You could do 15 minutes, you could do 24 hours. It doesn't matter. As soon as it sees that one, then it's going to trigger. But if it's two, then it has to be two of them within 8 hours or 4 hours or 1 hour. And then
Yeah,
it'll
I
trigger once.
understand that bit, but what's happening is I think that it the rule will trigger straight away when it sees that particular event. And then
Yep.
it doesn't trigger for the 8 hours because it's already seen it the once. And then after the 8 hours, it triggers again. So if a user is away with their iPhone, for example, and it's
Interesting.
constantly pulling through emails, I'm getting 3 alerts every 24 hours for that same user because it's waiting the 8 hours before it flags it back up again. Which
That's
is
weird. It shouldn't be waiting 8 hours. We'll have to talk to developers if that's the case. It should be basically it shouldn't wait that entire. It should trigger the once, and then if it sees it again, it should trigger again.
So what does the 8 hours do? What's the purpose of the within
It's just
parameter?
it's mostly for occurrences. So if you're more than one occurrence, like it has to there would be like two occurrences within this 8 hours, or three before it would trigger
Oh, I
once.
see. Okay, so having that
If
set
it's
to
a
one
if it's a
effectively.
single
Yeah.
occurrence, it could be set to 15 minutes or 24 hours, and
Mm,
you'll get the same effect.
yeah.
Okay.
I usually only mess with the occurrence if it's something like I want to know if someone's touched like 50 files in like 10
Yes.
minutes or something.
Yes.
Outside of that, almost all of my rules are just the one.
Mm, correct.
Okay. Well, maybe it's not doing what I described. Maybe I'm just I'm just seeing all of these alerts and adding two and two and coming up with the wrong answer.
Well, and Greg, if you're looking at your events that you're seeing, let me know if you see where it says like device. Like, is it, if you click on the device, if I can stop double clicking, if you click on the device, does it give you a name? Does it say that Microsoft is giving us an Entra ID? Because if that's the case, if it is giving this ID, we can kind of rule these out because we're only going to get this ID if it's joined to that specific tenant. And that is one way it's an acceptable amount of risk to say, hey, these are devices that Microsoft knows about and I trust them. Now, if you trust them is another story.
Yeah, I mean, I think uh, again that would help. That would move us a step forward, which I'm grateful for. But I still don't think it solves a piece with the mobile phones because that's the bit where somebody
Correct.
steps off an aircraft, it connects to the Wi-Fi or a 3G network, they're connected with an IP outside of the UK, and then boom, the rule triggers.
Correct. The only thing we can do with mobile phones right now is pretty much ignore them. So if you do mobile phone as a filter, if it's a mobile OS, then you can just say this will only run if it's not a mobile OS. But we want to support them. And honestly, the Entra integration is moving towards that.
Yep.
And we want to be able to also support more RMMs that target mobile devices. Like I think is it Adigi or something like that? Is that one of the big Mac ones? But in theory, if it's joined to Intune or something like that, MDM, it should register and send that ID as well. That's what I've seen.
But not for all events. Like if it's Apple Mail, it's not going to send it. But
Yeah.
Greg,
Legacy authentication is not going to send.
right, yeah. So originally, when I had made all our rules, like almost all of them had exclusions for mobile OS, and then we saw several incidents, and I think it's more of a trend over the last, call it 4 to 6 months than it has been historically for them to use iPhone user agents. And so maybe what you could do is have this rule that Ben has on the screen. And then you have another one that it's this exact same thing, but it looks for equal to value of true. And then just make it like a medium severity. So at least you're capturing it somewhere, but maybe it's not critical, right? Or at least maybe then you have it in the rule title, hey, this is mobile only. So okay, I'm more likely going to be just ignoring this. But that's kind of what I've ended up doing, making a mobile only version of a lot of the rules that were noisy.
It's very true. And yeah, we want to support more mobile devices. That's something on our roadmap for sure. And also later on, I believe this year we want to also integrate this, your sort of uh, events with machine learning to identify anomalies, things that stand out that are not normal for a particular account. So
Yep.
that's something we're moving towards as well.
And what's best practice when a user is away? I mean, is there a way of then it's okay, but this user is going to be in France for the
I
next
know what
7
you're
days,
asking.
therefore don't trigger this rule again over the next 7-day
Yes.
period.
Yeah, I was gonna say our CEO likes to travel, and what we always have to do is we jump into our conditional access policies and make sure that one, hey, he's gonna be in this country. So if he logs in from this country, we're expecting that for this period of time. But then we also jump into SaaS alerts, go to his account specifically, and
Yeah.
add where he's traveling to the whitelists so that SaaS alerts doesn't then also freak
Yeah.
out and send us tickets.
Yep. And then you got to go there and redo it all again.
And then you gotta
No,
remove
Yeah,
it
okay.
afterwards.
yeah,
But
that's
Yeah.
the biggest pain in the butt. And good news on that front as well. I think I can't promise you a date, but I can say very, 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 very soon we'll be introducing something called advanced suppression, which we've kind of introduced it on some of the SASE calls. And so if you wanted to see what it looks like, but basically it's a way for you to suppress certain activity with a time frame. And that could be activity from outside approved location. That could be activity from certain ASNs. A whole bunch of different ways that you can suppress an event. It's basically the way that we're going to address false positives in the system. Instead of you having to come in here and create a custom rule for an organization or add an IP address in as an exception, we say, hey, this is an exclusion for just this account, or maybe just this organization, or for all organizations, but it keeps us from having to modify these rules constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking as the director of managed SaaS alerts, I will welcome that feature immensely, because we create custom rules all day long for specific customers that maybe like to use VPNs that threat actors use. That's just what makes them happy. And obviously, we can't globally say, oh, well, this is acceptable use for this rule. But advanced suppression should be soon, very, 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 very soon.
I think this
Yeah.
month, Ben, is that fair? Or just this
Um,
quarter?
I know they are shooting for this month.
Okay, so
I
the
do
next
know.
60 days, guys.
Yeah, that's what they're trying really, really, really hard for this month. Yep. 100%.
Excellent. Greg, do you think you've got a little bit more ammo? Get a little further down the road?
Definitely. Yeah, that's been really helpful.
Yeah,
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks for joining, man.
yeah, and that's the thing about I don't know, our service is that we're using the product as much as you guys are. And when something annoys us, we're like, this is really annoying. Must be annoying other people too. And so it helps us move the platform along and make improvements. Now, if we can
Hey,
just
Ben,
get rid
can
of
we divert real
CAPTCHAs,
quick?
we'll be okay.
Ben, can we divert real quick? Jump up to event monitoring
Mhm.
and just look at some criticals and go ahead and look at the details for me. Is everybody? Oh, see, yours is rendering quickly. I've had a bunch of calls where this took like 30 or 40 seconds to render. Okay, I
earlier
can't
this
reproduce it
morning,
here.
SaaS alerts was really slow. Like trying to get into the critical and medium and
Yes.
stuff. It was spinning for a good
I
bit.
think that was a lot. I think that was our database. I think that was the back end just taking its sweet time. But I think they fixed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the heads up, Jason. I'll let them know this is persistent and it's not just me.
Mm.
And speaking of that, not that you
This is
guys would
where
ever know
suppression.
or care, but our current database, we just expanded from basically being able to handle 300 million calls a minute to 1.6 billion. So it's one of those dumb things that really isn't going to change your life now, but just know we constantly improve, not just in what you guys are seeing, but in the back end stuff as well. So
Yeah.
we're ready for those big, large clients or any kind of scaling that you guys want to do. Bring it.
Yeah, there's some good improvements coming. That we're gonna need that extra database room for.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
I don't know. I wanted to take this time before we run out of time just to make sure that you guys were aware of the ASN whitelisting and to answer any questions you may have about that. I
I
did a
do have
video on it.
questions about that.
Cool, excellent. For anybody that hasn't seen it, you can edit your whitelists here. You can also do it under the edit organization. I'm going to just do it under edit organization and whitelisting. From here, a lot of people experience, especially our friends over in Europe, experience the Microsoft Data Center traversal pretty frequently. And so that's kind of the answer to that question. This, you can do ASN presets, and this will pull from data that we have noticed in your specific tenant. And you can select to whitelist that based off of a couple of different things. You can select this. Let's do this Microsoft Data Center. You can also type in here if you want. But this fills out all the fields for you. All of these are optional, except for I think the ASN that's required. But if you said, I want to do all the ones in United States, it will let you do that. Sometimes it'll also warn you too. I think sometimes it'll be like, are you sure? Like, let's say if I just do Microsoft. Yeah, so it'll say, it'll give you a warning, but it will still let you do it. Who's raising their hand?
Our friend Deepak.
Go ahead, Deepak. What you got, bud?
I might join the meeting late, but this particular option is the fix for that issue whenever a user trying to access any Word Excel file on the web and
Yep.
they get alerted for the Microsoft's
Yep.
data set. Oh my God.
120%. Yes. This is the feature we,
Done.
Anthony and I have actually been dreaming about for the past year or two.
Great work, guys. Great work. I'm gonna try this today.
I know. Who'd have thought
And
that it was like so much pleasure would be derived from a couple of
so
drop down
simple. Yeah.
boxes.
And just Deepak, if you haven't found our YouTube channel, go out to YouTube. Ben put up a great video that walks
did.
through this. So share that with your team.
Yep.
Or share
Sure.
this video. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Austin, what's shaking, man?
So I was just wondering if I add an approved ASN name, does that mean that respond will basically not trigger on events that have that ASN name?
Good question. So that will not trigger on respond rules that are using the outside approved location event. If it's a
Okay.
different event, then no.
Okay.
However,
Okay.
advanced suppression will. So you'll be able to
Sweet.
advanced suppress something and then say, I want to also suppress it from anything respond, anything outside approved location, anything IOCs, all of it. So that will
Beautiful.
effectively do your whitelisting. That will be the true like whitelisting. Because yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
cool.
common misconception. It's like, I've whitelisted it. It should be okay. Well,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Okay, awesome.
totally.
Thanks, Ben.
For sure. Also, guys, you can also do this on a per account basis. So if you are under someone's specific accounts, let's say Bobby Littletoe, you could click on this and it'll be basically the same kind of menu. But just keep in mind that if you do this here, it's the same kind of thing that you're going to run into when it comes to account whitelisting. It will then ignore any of the whitelists you have on the organization. So if you had like United States as the whitelist, but you only add like Microsoft to this, then anytime someone signs in from the United States that's not Microsoft will probably trigger your outside approve. Good news is that we are also developing what we're called just inheritance. So you'll be able to select a button and it'll inherit everything at the organization level and then eventually everything at the partner level too. So if you have a whitelist you use for everybody, no longer will you have to do that. You know, if you like whitelist your IP address or something, you'll be able to inherit that. So that's on its way too.
And Ben, Tina was asking, is this pulling from her instance,
Yes.
or is this okay? So this is
100%.
specific to each client.
So I
Correct.
only see the ASNs that are alerting on my tenants.
Yep.
Amazing.
And if you specify one that is not like it will usually, yeah, so it'll say this ASN you entered does not match any ASNs that we've seen in the last 24 hours to verify. It doesn't stop you from doing it, but it will say, hey, you know, we haven't seen this. Are you sure you want to whitelist it?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For sure. Good questions.
And as a reminder, I'm going to throw this in the group chat. That is the link to our YouTube channel where you can find these meetings. They're recorded. Ben eventually posts them. Our Thursday meetings, if you ever miss one of those. Um, all of our YouTube content where, partners have shared ideas. It's like, hold it, this was the problem I was having. This was how I solved it with SaaS alerts. This is the rest of the madness it inspired. And I love those coming from partners because they're always telling me, we tried this and this is how it's like the whole backstory on this. I can look at it like what Ben's showing me here and understand what the rule's going to do. Or I'm sorry, when you're looking at rule templates, but I love hearing the backstory on that and kind of the journey of that. That's always very insightful for me. So join the conversation. We're always happy to share your content. And Ben updates stuff there on his Getting Techie blog all the time. All the time.
Not all the time.
Dude, I'm like, I'll turn around. I'm like, oh, there's two
Well,
more here I haven't seen.
well, Amy went to another company and she was like, I was like, who does the YouTube if you leave? She was like, here's access. And I'm like, all righty. I'll add it to
Careful
my
what you
list of
ask for.
things. I know.
Careful what you ask for.
I'm
That's
okay
kind of
with
the fun
that.
part about being in the startup space, which let's face it, SaaS Alerts is still startup centric. Even though we're a part of, Kaseya now, is careful what you say, man, because that might be policy tomorrow. Any of those suggestions. We still are moving fast and breaking things here. And I hope you'll all join us there in Vegas to not only watch Ben's presentation, but Jim Lippy has got a pretty interesting presentation about where we're going with the platform.
I'll be there.
You will. You will.
Cool.
Folks, this was a really fun session. I really want to thank Stephen very much for sharing as much as he did, even though we weren't able to record it for the audience. But that was
it's
great to
fun.
walk through that. Greg, join us anytime you can. I know it's not always convenient for the folks on your side of the ditch. Everyone else, thank you so much for your input and helping Stephen out. This was great. I really do love this community. Guys, have a great afternoon or morning.
Thank you guys. Appreciate
Have a
it.
good one, y'all.
See
Bye.
you guys. Bye.